We all know the story. One bad day and you become the Joker. But is it true? Let's look at other one bad days that have happened within the Batman mythos. Today is Batman Riddler, One Bad Day. I'm Comicstorian. I bring you audio dramas of your favorite comic books. And let's begin the tale. The life of John Oates was taken away on a seemingly normal day of Gotham. His killer made no effort to hide himself, gunning John down in broad daylight for everyone to see. But as the killer walked up to the security camera, he simply stood there holding a card with Batman's symbol on it. As Gordon sits the Riddler down for questioning, he has but one question. Where is he? Gordon gets his paperwork ready, stating that Batman said, and I quote, "Edward's not worth my time." As for the shooting, he popped John Oates in the head in the middle of the day. He then waited for the cops to come. Any reason why? Did he owe him money? Did he lose to him at poker? Maybe he slept with a girlfriend. Riddler sits back. Riddle me this. How would the Joker know that you'd be home with Babs that day? How did he know where to go? How did he know how to get past your security? Well, the Joker called me up stating that he wanted to do the whole one bad day thing, but didn't know where to start. So he asked me about the commissioner's daughter. He had the whole thing staked out, but it was too easy, and he got bored. The Joker said he loved it. He'd do it for a song and a dance. And then he hung up. Gordon lunges across the table, grabbing the Riddler by the throat. The Riddler asks, "Are you okay? You seem a bit upset." "Oh no. Did people find out about Sergeant Essen? You know her, right? The woman you slept with, and then forced to transfer out so that you could hide your little affair from your pregnant wife. She worked for you. She had a career. And then, well, we both know what came then, right? Poor thing." But what made Edward this way? When Edward was younger, he was a smart child, really smart, and was taught that all there was in life was to succeed. His father was the headmaster of a prestigious school that he attended, and would look at him as a failure. Even getting a 92 on his AP English exam was a failure. Edward explained that he knew and understood all that was being asked of him, but Professor Yellen added a stupid riddle for the last points. And that's just guessing. It didn't have anything to do with preparation. But still, even a 92 was failing, so his father punished him severely for it. So when the next test came, Edward was prepared. His riddle was, what is the English word most commonly spelled incorrectly? And Edward answered enough. He turned in his paper, and as Edward said that he was much more prepared this time, the professor simply told him, incorrectly. What English word is most commonly spelled incorrectly? Incorrectly is spelled incorrectly. Yellen then explained that anyone can read a book and memorize it and just repeat it as knowledge. But these questions are to make people use that knowledge, not just regurgitation, but recontextualization. Edward understood what Yellen was saying, even if he disagreed. But he also knew what that meant to his father. So Edward sat in his father's office waiting, repeating Yellen's question to himself. And inside of one of his drawers, Edward, his father, kept a gun. So Edward took it and pointed it at his own head, pulling the trigger. There was a click, and then another, and then a third. Seeing that there were no bullets in the gun, Edward put the gun back down and assumed his position, calling out that he was here, ready, and that he was wrong, that it wasn't enough. But Edward was smart, really smart, so smart that he convinced the film freak to kill himself after losing a bet about the film that Edward guessed correctly. Batman was already interested, but now this forced Batman to act, to understand why the Riddler was so casually killing with no real rhyme or reason. He always has a reason, or a clue, something to connect him. But all of this just seems not like the Riddler. So Batman followed the only lead that he had, a lead that brought him to the middle of nowhere in a dark forest. He walked into the old, rundown shack and says, "Dean Attorney, former headmaster of Onduntier Academy." Edward's father holds up his shotgun, telling Batman to get out. But Batman continues forward. "Your son recently killed a man. He also leaves a clue before he does it, but this time he didn't, and I'm trying to find out why." Dana fired. But Batman moved out of the way, continuing forward, telling him. After speaking with a subordinate, the Riddler dismissed them all, telling them that he was taking time for an elderly parent. Dana fires again, but again, Batman steps out of the way, continuing with his questions, asking, "When was the last time you saw your son?" Dana tells him to stop. Don't think he won't, but Batman stops him. Despite the rumors in the press, I'm not omnipotent. I have an unfortunate weakness for mercy that has often led to careless mistakes and lingering pain. However, the moment you fired the gun, I lost my taste for any mercy. Also, as you pull that trigger, knowing in fact that you're aiming it at me, you're the one making a careless mistake, a mistake that's going to bring lingering pain. Dana tries to steady his aim but lowers the gun. My son is an idiot. He puts the gun away, sitting down, going on about how Edward could read after a year and a half. He knew Greek, Latin, calculus when he was 5. By 12, he had another dozen languages and was showing a genius-level aptitude for every topic. As his father, he dedicated his life to him to ensure that such potential would be nurtured, developed in a fitting way. Spent his whole life savings on an army of learned men and women to expose him to every corner of academia. Due to his excellence at academics, the school would have no choice but to accept him, despite the fact that his mother was not suitable to their standards. Hell, he even taught the Waynes, the Holts, the Luthers, he knows them, but next to his boy. Dana trails off trying to take a drink and then says that his son is still an idiot. He hasn't spoken to Edward in 30 years, not since the basketball court and as he started with the Nigma nonsense. Enigma. Oh, how clever. He will not speak to his son again in this lifetime. His son was blessed with a gift. Blessed. And he wasted it on games. As such, it ruined his father's life. Is that enough to earn a little mercy? Batman stares, asking, where is his mother? However, Edward's change happened when he was young, when he thought that he could outsmart the system. So one day he snuck into the records room of the school and looked up the answer sheet for his upcoming test for Professor Yellen. He didn't need the answers to the test itself, just the riddle part. And as he pulls out the sheet of paper, he reads to himself, what disappears when you say its name? But back at the GCPD in the modern day, the Riddler is about to be transferred to his new cell. As is standard for people with his notoriety, he will be placed in a straitjacket. Riddler asks if he's spoken to Batman yet, and Gordon, ignoring the question, tells his officers to start with the rubber bullets. Bring him to his knees! Riddler turns to one of the officers and says, Hey, Andrew, before you listen to Gordon here, please remember that you have 3 children, Maya, Caroline, and Caitlin, who go to Brent Community College on Conway. And that I've escaped Arkham over 3 dozen times, and I will again, and I will find your children, and I will kill them. Gordon gives the order again to shoot, but Riddler turns to the next officer, saying the same thing about his family, and the next, and the next, and the next. A shot is fired, but the shooting officer shot another officer, shouting, You heard him! I've got kids! I'm not letting this freak out of the room! All of the officers begin to point their guns at one another, and Gordon tries to control the situation as more shots are going off. Riddler lays down as everyone starts shooting everyone, asking, Who do you meet the first time and also the last time? An Arkham guard. No, that's too specific. You'd have to be there. He then rephrases the questions, but says no, he isn't getting it. That's why he needs to talk to Batman. He just wants to make things make sense. That's all he wants. With everyone except Gordon and Riddler dead, Riddler gets back up asking, Can you call Batman again? I'd really appreciate it. So Gordon does just that, and as he lights his pipe, he says that there's nothing more that he can do. Everyone is scared of the Riddler. He had 5 guards quit this morning, saying they're moving their families to another state. Hell, Gordon's terrified. Batman asks where, and Gordon tells him the yard in the back. His suggestion, give you 2 some room. Just know that he isn't the same Riddler he used to be. The courtyard does have some significance to it. It was because when he was younger, Professor Yellen called to meet him in the courtyard of the school. Yellen went on his whole "you need to learn how to have fun when you're young" speech, as he normally tells the students that he thinks are trying too hard. But really, it was because he graded their most recent tests, and he'd want to know the results. Edward said that he worked really hard on this one, and Yellen says that that's the funny thing. At the last second, he changed a question. The riddle, at the end. Saw it on the paper. First you eat me, then you get eaten. What am I? And yet he wrote down silence as the answer, which would have been the answer to the riddle he didn't use. Edward says he doesn't understand, and Yellen tells him that if he's going to cheat, then he at least needs to do it well. He didn't even bother reading the question. Edward begs him not to tell his father, but Yellen insists that he must do the right thing. It even make him a better person in the end. Young Edward kicks Yellen in the back of the head as he's kneeling down and proceeds to bash his head into the ground over and over, asking, "What was the riddle again? It should be a blast to solve. First you eat me, and then you get eaten, and what am I?" As Batman walks into the courtyard in the current day, he says, "A fishhook." Riddler begins to make shots with a basketball, asking, "Do you ever get tired of being right? I know what happened to your mother. I know that he killed her." And Riddler says that he killed a lot of people. He wasn't a very nice person. But at least she got to live to a fine old age. He wasn't the one who freaked out during a sword-fighting movie, making his parents walk him through Crime Alley and ending their happy days a tad early. "What do you want, to be applauded? Should I clap?" Riddler looks at him. "I know who you are, but do you know me?" "I did, and I still do. You're an idiot." Riddler shoots again, telling him, "Actually, I'm not. Did you know that I used to check in on you in the mansion to make sure you were doing all right? Sure, there was security, but it was all very predictable. I did it quite often over the years. I have fond memories of you sleeping, not to mention of Dick, Jason, Tim, and little Damien. I liked watching you all grow up. I still visit every so often. In fact, there's a safe that you keep in the living room behind a portrait of your parents, some light spending money of a few $100,000. I took $1 from it, just to see if you'd noticed, and you probably did. That mysteries now done. But also, in the bedroom there is another safe. Inside, you keep one scratched pearl, your poor mother's, I'd guess." Batman asks, "Do you want me to hit you?" "No, I don't like that, it hurts. In fact, from now on, anytime you touch me, for whatever reason, I will kill a Robin. Maybe not one of the boys. Maybe Stephanie or Cassandra. No, you care too much for all of your children. How about I kill someone randomly? Someone neither of us know. Just a stranger going about their day. What do you want me to do, kill you? You could, but you won't. You're just going to walk away and watch. Time will pass, and you will come begging for clarity, wondering if it was me." Batman reaches out, grabbing the Riddler by the throat. "Have you considered that you should be the one begging?" "No." Batman tosses him. "See? In the end, I win! I even tried giving you a chance. It was fun!" Riddler begins to crawl back up, grabbing the ball, telling him that a person can be a riddle too. And usually the answer is Mommy. What did Mommy do? Yes, I did kill my mother. But as I asked her questions, I strangled her before she could answer. I didn't want the answer. I got tired of being right. I got tired of puzzles and challenges and riddles. So no more games. I'm done with that. Batman may be smart and good, but I'm smarter and I'm better. Now, we will go our separate ways, unaware of each other." The Riddler takes another shot, and Batman throws a battering at it, asking, "Why did you kill John? To show that I could do this without clues? That's why a wife doesn't have a husband. Why children don't have their father? For a stupid message!" Riddler grabs his hat. "I'm going to walk out of here. And if you want, I'll be at Gotham Plaza. But no, I did not kill that man for a stupid message. I did so that I could tell you how things are now." The two stare at each other for a moment, and the Riddler asks, "Any more questions?" Batman remains silent, and the Riddler turns to leave, telling him, "Goodbye, Bruce. See you around. But please remember, okay? Riddles are fun, but I am not." Since his departure, Riddler has made a name for himself, and no one wants to confront him. No police, no mobsters. In fact, the mobsters work for the Riddler now. It would appear that the Riddler has become untouchable, making everyone fear what might happen if they do. As Riddler sits in his suite, he gets himself ready, trying on different hats, listening to a conversation between Batman and Gordon. Batman says that the Riddler can hear all of this. There's a small broadcasting device in the gargoyle. It's all very smart, and that's how he wins, for being smart. Smart enough to know that he has a weakness for mercy, A weakness that leads to a weakness that he has been exploiting in these last few months. But it took him some time to see this. On the court, he showed that being smart can be its own weakness, and that you can get lost in your assumptions. You see, he was smart. He assumed Riddler was who he was. He tells the Riddler, you solve it, case closed. He assumed that he couldn't question himself, that he couldn't change, that he would never let go of the reins holding him back. That was his mistake, thinking that he knew him, assuming that there was no limit to his fun. He was smart and a fool, just like him. You see, right now, in this room, by himself, he is making the same smart mistakes that he did. He assumes that Batman won't change, that he won't question himself, that he cannot let go of the reins, that there's no limit to his mercy. And he assumed that this isn't a recording, that he is actually on this rooftop, actually saying these things. Riddle me this, Edward. Though we meet but once, you know me forever thereafter. What am I? And as the Riddler is looking at himself in the mirror, listening to a recording that Batman left, staged, because the Riddler thinks he's smart, he sees Batman standing behind him. And then, darkness. Okay, so this story was incredible. I loved the idea that the Riddler finally snapped, that the Riddler had taken it to a whole new level, and I really just wanted to bring this story to you guys. So I was hoping you guys would enjoy it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this story by Tom King, telling a story of the Riddler's One Bad Day, because I can't wait for the rest of these Batman One Bad Day storylines now. And that's right, I did say the rest of these. Apparently this is a series called One Bad Day about all of his different villains. So if you want to know when the next one comes out, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and don't forget, if you want early access to stuff, go to YouTube memberships and Patreon. Thank you guys so much for this ongoing many, many years of just having so much fun doing this. I'll see you guys next time right here.